me. Do you think that LeBron James has made up his mind?
I do.
Now, I don't know if it's Golden State. And the reason why I don't think that he's made up his mind is it's less about him, Goo. I can hear the words, but the actions that I'm reading, I don't think the Warriors are in a full, all-out blitz to get LeBron James.
I just thought of Ray Lewis when you said blitz, but why?
Well, you guys were talking about the Ravens defense yesterday.
Yeah, shout out
in
to
reference to Spain.
Yeah.
I don't think the Warriors have put out this full court press on LeBron. In fact, the fact that that it's been reported that he doesn't even want to take what he was making last year or near what he was making, that he's willing to take the minimum, tells me that LeBron James is trying to figure out where he can fit in on other teams. I don't know if there's everyone out there that's been reported, whether it's Cleveland, Miami, Minnesota, Philly, the Warriors. I don't think everybody's trying to fit him in. If you know what I'm saying. That's why I don't know if his decision is set in stone, because when he did this last time, when LeBron James has been available, for as much of a sports narcissist as he is, everyone has done everything in their power to acquire his services. They've cleared cap space. They've moved things around. I haven't been seeing that from a lot of teams this offseason. Draymond Green has moved his stuff around.
Yeah.
But Mike Dunleavy Jr. said that was Draymond's choice. That was Draymond's decision. I don't know if the Warriors are trying to move mountains to get this guy. They would love to have him on their team, but they clearly are not interested in Anthony Davis, and I think that's wise. They're not trying to go out and trade for a Jaylen Brown. They're not trying to go out and swing big on free agents. They brought back guys from last season. They made their draft pick, and they're hoping that LeBron chooses them. But if he doesn't go, I don't get the idea that the Warriors are going to be despondent and in despair by the fact that he didn't choose them.
I'll say this. In my mind, I feel like it's when people are lined up to get the new J's, Jordans, and the line's around the corner. To me, if you feel like you're a winner or you're close, that all those people are in the LeBron James line. But what you just said it reminded me of our friend Rick Bucher, who basically said this Rich Paul thing is propaganda and everybody's not in the line for LeBron like that. And that kind of hit me like, come on, Rick. But to your point, I feel like the Warriors are waiting for the Jays, which is LeBron, to kind of get a grade for the offseason or see which direction they're going.
Well, I think the Warriors are hoping that he chooses them because obviously he's going to make them a better basketball team. And the circus is going to be what it is. But the thing about it, Goo, is for the first time, it feels to me like teams are trying to court LeBron on their terms, whereas it's always been on LeBron's terms. LeBron needs Anthony Davis from New Orleans.
Yeah.
You got to get rid of those young guys to get me to L.A. You know, when he was going from Cleveland to Miami, well, it's only because D. Wade and Chris Bosh are going to be teaming. I'm going to be teaming up with them. It doesn't. When he went back to Cleveland, all right, I'm choosing that spot, not because it's just Cleveland and it's home, but you got Kyrie. Kevin Love is there. I can go compete for a championship. Every time LeBron's made a choice about where he plays, you're right, it's been calculated, but it's also been because it's happened on his terms. If he announces on Thursday or Friday at the Fanatics event in NYC that he's going somewhere, I think he's going to frame it as, well, they sent me this beautiful voice memo, and they're in my court. The ball's in my court. That's not what I'm seeing from teams. That's not what I'm seeing from the Warriors. And as much as Mike Dunleavy was talking yesterday about how he's close to finalizing this roster and he's happy about it,
and he was smiling.
I don't hear a guy that's bending over backwards to bring in LeBron James.
But wouldn't you call that under promise and over deliver, as opposed to if he was like, I really want her to accept my date. You know, I'm going to be hurt if she doesn't, go out with me. Isn't that kind of like, putting your arms over your face? You're looking for a kiss, but you don't want to get sucker punched. That was kind of safe, what I thought Mike did, not showing thirst per se.
No, I don't think he's showing thirst, but he hasn't done that for anybody. Again, he told Draymond that it was his choice to opt in or opt out. I think the Warriors, at least according to reports, I remember Slater reporting this, the fact that they thought that Draymond was going to opt in, that he was going to take that final year at 27.5. He didn't. So he might have surprised some people. And that was in a kind of a signal that they were going after LeBron.
That's how I took it, a major one.
I think Draymond is going after LeBron. I don't know if the Warriors are. I know that Joe Lacob wants to be in it until the end. At least that's what Stein reported yesterday. But I get, Goo, I think they want LeBron. I don't think they're in a position or they're looking at this like they need LeBron James.
Now, do you believe that? Because I feel like if they don't get him, what the season will be, the energy behind it, with the injuries and everything that's going on outside of Yaxel and Steph's get back on runner's knee, if there's no LeBron compared to if LeBron were to come. So, I got to say, I'm on the other side of the net. Like, they need LeBron James.
Well, I think they need him to sell tickets and from an entertainment standpoint. But, Goo, I would argue that this season has the potential to be a snoozer, even if LeBron comes to the Warriors.
And that's why I'm over here dreaming, not the first time, that August 6th, in regard to Anthony Davis, means something because Bron wouldn't choose here unless we could get AD. And I could be so far off the mark, but I'm hoping that's it.
But this is the other part, too, which was something that we read today in the SF Standard. This was from Danny Emmerman, who was talking about how the Warriors, or writing about how the Warriors are processing LeBron and sort of his standstill. So, number one, the sense around the league is that no one knows exactly which way James is leaning. The only reason that I believe that, and I know Willard's been on his, LeBron knows, it's calculated, he knows exactly where it's going the whole time. The only reason I'm not there yet is because there's been so many conflicting reports from newsbreakers, from reporters.
Come on now.
Everyone's throwing cross signals to me, including Rich Paul. But this was the other part, too, that he mentioned today in the SF Standard. The Warriors have not been operating under the impression that trading for Anthony Davis would guarantee LeBron James signing with them. I also believe that.
Well, then don't do it.
Which is why you cannot take that risk. If you get AD and LeBron James doesn't come here.
Oh, that's negligence, right? I mean, come on.
Because I don't believe that they're just a package deal. Otherwise, I think there would be some sort of signaling that Anthony Davis is, look, if you get him, he'll be right on your team. Again, it's the idea that teams are in LeBron James's court. Because if this was the case, I think a few years ago, people really wanted LeBron. If his value was as high as people believed it to be, I do think there would be teams lining up to trade for Anthony Davis. But because LeBron is 42 years old, he's still a damn good basketball player. But because he's not at the peak of his powers, because he's not a guy that guarantees you automatic contention, I don't think there are teams saying, well, we got to do everything for LeBron, because that's not what I see from Golden State.
Well, I'll say this to that. I feel like all the teams involved or rumored to be involved are good teams, and they feel like LeBron can get them over the top. And, so I count three, like Miami. I get that. Minnesota, maybe a dark horse. And I'm just going, Cavs had a good season. And Philadelphia, like I really believe if he were to go to Philly by himself, that would be enough for them to get to the Eastern Conference Finals or the Finals. Okay, so I guess just naturally, Evan, I feel like some teams aren't close enough to where it doesn't make sense, and maybe that's why they're not in that line to get to Jays, again, which are LeBron James. But I'm just thinking about, on a good day, if you were to give me health, and I talk about Jimmy Butler coming back, Draymond Green, Steph Curry, and LeBron James, and Al Horford, Porzingis, when he plays, I would be excited to see all that pedigree give these young teams fits if they were able to remain upright and qualify for the offs, not the play-in.
Well, here's the latest from Shams Charania. This is what you were listening to during the break. This is from NBA Today yesterday in the afternoon.
Players have also reached out to LeBron James to recruit him, and yes, all the voice notes have also been listened to. And rosters have been set around the league, the decks have been set, and the leading suitors have been Cleveland, Miami, Golden State, Philadelphia, and Minnesota. And what we know definitively is LeBron James has made it clear privately that he wants to go somewhere where he can compete for a championship, somewhere where he feels like he finds that happiness from a team environment and culture that he feels he can uplift. And the big thing here is this is not going to be a financially driven decision. So that gives LeBron James the ability to hear from teams that have the minimum, have other exceptions, have salary cap space as well, and also be allowed to take his time through this decision.
Do you feel like the Warriors are anywhere closer to another team. Again, that's why I don't think it's made up yet, Goo, because I think that there's a lot of teams in the mix. It's like, all right, let's take the lining up for the Jays analogy.
Okay.
I think that in the past, you're right. The moment that those new Jordans drop, people are there at 3 a.m.
Come on now.
They're ready to break into the Foot Locker. You might be ready to rob someone on the way out of the Foot Locker.
Hey, whoa.
Yeah, I don't want to encourage that.
Yeah, shout out to the
but what I think this is people lining up for Jordans when there's a discount sign. They're lining up to get those shoes that they could not afford to when they were $250. But now that they're $125, now that they're $100, well, now I'm going to get in line because it's not going to cost me as much as it used to. I don't have to compromise or break my bank.
Yeah, no doubt.
In the case of these teams, I don't have to compromise my roster to get LeBron James.
No doubt about it, Evan. I wholeheartedly agree, and I think that's why it makes this move more attractive. And you mentioned his age, 41, about to be 42, whatnot, so he's up there. But the fact that this move would not break the bank, and you talk about this roster, I'll say, I think devoid of talent and young Thundercats outside of Yaxel. I mean, he would fit in, and he could help, so you know, we heard a general manager, we've heard the head coach talk about turnovers, and we're like, man, this is a veteran-laden team. That was odd, but it was real, their reality. Like, LeBron just checked so many boxes, and if I could get those Jays at 125 and still be able to pay my rent, put some gas in the car, like, it's not that big of a risk. So I feel like, not easy, Evan. What do you got to lose? Because it won't be draft picks if he comes by himself and you don't get AD.
Well, I think the only thing the Warriors have to lose right now, it's the court of public opinion.
Okay. Coffee's for closers?
Yeah, I mean, it's the idea that they haven't been able to close a big fish, but that's where again, I am a little bit with Bucher on this you mentioned earlier.
Wow, he shocked me.
Like, are we sure LeBron is still a big fish? Are we sure that LeBron James is still a big fish? I know that he moves the needle in terms of ticket sales, jersey sales. I think people will be excited.
And he still can control a game.
And I got to be honest, I hope that he chooses Golden State.
Me too.
Because we're going to be out at Chase Center. We're going to be covering this team. It's going to be a whole heck of a lot more.
This is LeBron James. You're listening to Stoney and Guru, 95.7 The Game.
And I would venture to guess that even the people who say they don't want LeBron
will be in.
The moment that he sees, I don't know if it's number 6 or maybe Draymond gives him number 23, they will be watching the Warriors, right. I think.
Okay.
That's the way that I feel because they'll be interesting again.
Well, okay, go ahead. What about what I brought up yesterday to you and Steiny? Evan, I don't see too many outside of after halftime, but they're there and we know where they're at the club. We haven't embarked on empty seats at Oracle. The television networks are telling us what we already know, and I know. When Steph plays, he's box office. So they were a top 3-5 team in regard to nationally televised games. So what if I were to tell people we're not even at that juncture to where Joe Lacob needs to worry about, without LeBron, the Warriors being a factor in regard to people want to watch the chef and the rest of the game get down?
Well, that was the other thing, too, and I'm not sure we had that sound yet about when Dunleavy was asked about Curry.
Yeah,
and how to, like, what they're still doing with him.
Yeah.
And this was all yesterday during Summer League. He was talking during the Warriors and Jazz game to Dave McMenamin of ESPN. But the quote that stood out to me was, we can keep building the team around him. And I think the Warriors are trying to build a team around him. But they're not trying to build a team without compromising their future. And, okay, here's the sound. This is from Mike Dunleavy yesterday on ESPN.
Yeah, well, I mean, credit to Steph. He's extended this thing out pretty far, so we get to keep building a team around him, and it's a fun thing to do. Just surrounding him with the right type of players, thinking through whether we're drafting guys, signing guys, trading for them. So, I'd say for the most part, it's easy as long as he keeps playing well.
See, again, like, that all sounds good. The idea that they're building around him, but his actions are telling me something different.
And you could be onto something, but it's kind of funny. They're all in, and, last year we were robbed of watching the Steph for a full season because of runner's knee for the millionth time. So, that hurts. And, again, I'm just going to be proactive, Evan, and say Curry will bounce back like McCaffrey did when I was so worried about him and his injuries that, cost him half the season or more. Man, but, Evan, I really do want to fight you and spar with you on the premise that everybody's not all in. I just feel like Rich Paul and LeBron James are controlling the league right now because at 41 years old, I believe, and I mean this, LeBron James, with the right people around him, can still control a game. And do you think that's too much I'm giving LeBron right now at this stage? Because I watched that Laker team when they had Luka and Reeves upright. I was like, oh, they're about to go in the playoffs, a problem. He was the one that remained healthy, but they lost, got beat by OKC because he was without his weaponry. But Bron still can control a game.
No, he's still a damn good basketball player. And you're right. In that series against Houston, he was awesome. Especially was a game one. He had 13 assists in the first half. He was incredible. But the Lakers are also what's kind of throwing me off because I'm sitting here and I'm just wondering if he is that guy. Why don't the Lakers want him back for the minimum?
Because
if that's what he's willing to take anybody everywhere else, I'm starting to believe the Lakers didn't want him back.
Yeah, you might be onto something.
Or he may not have wanted them.
Yeah, and I just think this, I'm being real. I thought LeBron James orchestrated the AD trade for Luka, but now I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, no, they did that without his him co-signing, and that hurt him. But it was the right decision in regard to, like, dude, you were on the, shout out to the golf tournament, you were on the back nine. We're going with Luka. He's our guy. LeBron didn't publicly cry, but Evan, that was a message. Like the Goodyear blimp in the sky. Hey, LeBron, this is no longer your team. And the Lakers are standing on business, and it's Reeves, Luka, and all their new additions, but they're over, LeBron. And there was a problem in regard to Luka having the ball in his hand stylistically. I watched it. LeBron played good soldier. He needs the rock in his hands, and that just didn't work. And even though they were having some success, that to me just eroded that relationship. And that's why he felt like for the first time, I'm unwanted or I'm not the dude. I'm up out of here. But in reality, I could tell you, I'll go barbershop on you, his feelings were hurt. And that's why L.A. was like Chris Brown deuces and him doing the same.
Well, I am with you that I think he wants to be wanted.
Oh, man.
I
think we're watching it.
I think that's why Rich Paul's throwing out the voice memo thing. Hey, send me some pitches. Send me some ideas I can throw to LeBron.
I hate that. Voice memo. Is that what we're doing? And you could tell me, good, that's what we're doing.
I mean, I got a voice memo from my brother last night, but it's not about it's not a pitch. Like this idea that, okay, so we're going to stuff your inbox with A, B, C. It's like if I really wanted to pitch you something, I would want to meet you in person.
No, man.
Which is what I think Draymond was trying to do, maybe more than anybody else. And I'm starting to almost feel like Draymond opting out is because he wants LeBron here maybe even more than the Warriors do. Now, he knows that that's going to make them better.
Yeah,
and that's why he wants his guy.
Basketball.
He's going to make his job easier. But again, the actions from Dunleavy, and I know that the quote from Stein yesterday about Lacob wanted to be in until the end.
Yeah.
And I think there probably is some truth to that. But I do not believe the Warriors are hell-bent on this entire offseason being determined by LeBron. And I'll take it a step further. I don't think other teams are looking at it like that. If Cleveland doesn't get LeBron, I think they're fine rolling into next year.
But
if
they're
Miami
a better
doesn't get
roster
LeBron,
than us. You're right. They got their big fish, Giannis. Sixers with Jaylen Brown. So they're not as, to me, desperate. But what about us here?
But what about a team like San Antonio? If they had LeBron on their team last year, I think they probably beat the Knicks. Because what's the one thing they were missing? A veteran, an established presence.
Supposed to be Fox, but yeah.
Well,
he was a poodle.
I'm kind of with you there. But that's my point. If they really needed that, if that's what they yearned for, wouldn't they have put a full court press on LeBron?
Well, I'll say this to that.
They went with Tobias Harris.
Dude, I still can't. Nobody asked. Shout out Kenny Luttrell, our Knicks resident fan here. I still can't believe the Knicks won it all. But I can look you guys in the face and say San Antonio tricked that series off. All of them. 29, they tricked that off. So if I'm San Antonio, I'm like, we got the talent. We were up in the games. Do I want to mess with Wemby and all these other dudes' mentals by bringing in the camera crew and just the enormity that comes with LeBron James?
Yeah.
Like, you could say whatever, Wemby's a guy, but LeBron would be. So maybe they don't want that, nor are they thinking we need that now. We're good. We tricked it off, but we'll be back. We know what we did wrong, but we don't need the silhouette of LeBron James from a mental standpoint, maybe pushing Wemby back, not on purpose, but you don't know what that would do to him and the hierarchy that they have that was so successful until they start smoking games off.
I mean, but I think that's interesting what you just said. It's like, they don't believe that the juice is worth the squeeze with LeBron. And I think you're right.
But they're better than us.
Well, they are. But if LeBron is the difference between you winning a championship and not, isn't that worth all the rest? Isn't that worth all the gossip? You becoming the housewives of San Antonio? Isn't it worth all of that if you can get a ring?
You would think, but but they got that continuity that we don't have. And we're running it back. Like, let's just, the rat on the table brought to you by Echo Pest Control. Steiny said it yesterday. It's real. If they don't get LeBron James, the offseason was just horrific, right?
I agree, but I don't think it's just because they didn't get LeBron. And we can go through some of the things that determine that on the other side. 888-957-9570. When you hear Dunleavy, happy about the end of the roster, do you think that means LeBron James? Was it a coincidence? This is from the 650 that Steph was on Good Morning America this morning in New York, where LeBron's going to be in a couple days.
Man.
Draymond's on this golf trip with LeBron. They're in Puerto Rico together.
Puerto Rico.
Is it on the players? Is it the front office? How much are the Warriors in on LeBron? Because I think that Rich Paul, Shams Charania, a lot of these guys are telling us that they want them a lot more than I believe they actually do.